With the 15th anniversary of Minecraft and its recent 1.21 update, I've seen a wave of new players, many of them adults, joining the community to discover how a ragtag indie game had the staying power to become a decade-and-a-half global phenomenon. But for all its charm and potential, the same sandbox style that grants it such appeal can also be a double-edged sword, with a huge learning curve for an inexperienced player. If that's you, you're in the right place, and welcome to Minecraft CavesNotes. The goal of this series is to create a library of easy-to-digest guides for understanding the basics of the Minecraft world. Things like how monsters spawn, what types of terrain and friendly creatures exist, types of movement and travel, and the physics of a world where stone stays put in midair and water can be replicated. Hello, I'm Emerald Dragoon, and welcome back to Minecraft CavesNotes. So originally I had planned to talk about mining for this episode, but as I got to thinking about how I play and what the world looks like through a new player's eyes, I realized that if I send you off mining now, you'll end up with a bunch of resources and nowhere to keep them. Most players will settle down somewhere, whether it's just with a small functional home base, or to build their pixelated dream house. But where to start? Well, today's video is essentially a biome showcase. Biome is a term used to describe an area based on its climate, plant life, and the creatures within it. I won't cover every single one of them, since many biomes are variants or subsets of others, but I will give you an idea of what to expect in different areas. We'll also only be covering the main overworld biomes today, not the underground ones, or the biomes of Minecraft's other two dimensions. Oh, and one last thing. If you are the type that would prefer to discover all the game's terrain on your own, consider this a spoiler warning, and feel free to skip this video and save it for later. Stick around if you're looking for a glimpse of what is available to you, so you can set out traveling with a goal in mind. So without further ado, let's get to it! Plains are one of the more common biomes in Minecraft, consisting of wide, open, grassy areas, usually with low hills and very sparse trees. This is a very typical area for players to settle down in, because it's easy to build in, multiple useful animals can spawn there, you can see most hostile mobs from a distance, and there may even be easy access to a village. Meadows are elevated plains that have slightly different coloring and flower types, but generally share the same benefits as the plains. Plain-style villages can also generate in meadows. Eventually, the meadows were given their own variant, called the Cherry Grove. With unique cherry trees for plenty of wood, as well as animals for food, this biome remains very popular as a destination. Deserts are another spacious biome with plenty of visibility, but there's no native source of wood, dirt, or water, and animal life is limited to desert rabbits unless you stumble across a village. What the desert does have, however, is two unique structures that can generate. Desert wells are fairly common and can provide a source of water, and desert pyramids conceal a secret room with 4 chests of loot that can be incredibly helpful. I won't dive into those details today, but to save you some headache, tread carefully when attempting to find the loot. It's guarded by a trap that will destroy all of it, and probably you as well. Both the pyramids and the wells are also interest points for the game's archaeology mechanic. I'll dedicate a guide to that as well in the future. A distinct variety of zombie called the Husk spawns only in deserts. Badlands are warm and dry like deserts, so resources are scarce here too. The surface is made up primarily of red sand and terracotta blocks, and is the easiest place to collect them. Although they are not a hospitable biome to start in, Badlands do have their own unique feature. Abandoned mine shafts that are usually found underground are generated much closer to the surface here, often exposing them. Likewise, gold ore also generates at and near the surface in this biome instead of just deep underground. Wooded Badlands are a variant of the biome where coarse dirt and oak trees generate on the tops of the terracotta plateaus, which can make the area much easier to survive in. And Eroded Badlands are modeled after real-life terrain in the US Southwest, creating beautiful pastel towers of terracotta. Swamps are flooded areas where you'll find viney oak trees, frogs, lily pads, clay deposits, and possibly even a witch hut. Plenty of farm animals also spawn here, so if you are willing to invest the time in some dry walkways, this is a decent home base for survival. In Bedrock Edition, giant mushrooms can also generate here. Mangrove swamps are a warmer variant that add tropical fish, mud, and a thick forest of mangrove trees. The wine red color of mangrove wood and the unique mangrove roots are typically praised by players, but collecting the wood is not an easy task. Swamp biomes are the one place that slimes and the bogged can spawn above ground at night. There are many types of forest biomes, but the basic forest is composed of oak and birch trees, and several different types of animals roam around them. The dark forest adds thick dark oak trees and giant mushrooms to the forest. Because of their size and density, the sun doesn't reach the ground as well as in other biomes. There's still plenty of animal life, but if you're thinking of living here, I'd recommend a treetop base so hostile mobs don't sneak up on you from behind the trees. Additionally, a dangerous structure called a woodland mansion may generate here, but they're very rare. If you do happen to see one, I definitely don't recommend venturing in at this stage of the game. The birch forest only has birch trees, but they tend to grow with a bit more space between them than oak, making this a slightly safer biome than regular forest in terms of hostile mob surprises. The flower forest hosts flower types that can't be found other places and has a higher chance to spawn bees in their nests. Taiga biomes are cooler forests, growing spruce trees and sweetberry bushes and providing a home for foxes. Villages can generate in regular taiga biomes, but not their old-growth variants. There is also a snowy version of the taiga with, you guessed it, snow on the ground and the trees. Old-growth taiga biomes have very large 2x2 trees reminiscent of redwoods. You'll also notice that the ground cover is quite different here than other forest-type biomes. Most mountainous biomes are actually variations of other primary types, but there are a few true mountains. Stony peaks are steep and tall mountains of stone and a block called calcite, and they're great for finding coal and iron and for taking in the view, but not much else. A base here would be well fortified, but more difficult to build and more time-consuming to establish. You'll find goats in jagged peaks, and frozen peaks will also add ice and snow, but otherwise, these biomes are difficult to survive in. Mountainous areas might be extremely rewarding to build in though, once you have gathered some resources and if you have a solid vision for a project. Often bordering the frozen peaks are snowy slopes and groves. These are the biomes where powder snow generates, which can be deadly if you're unprepared. Once you have a set of leather boots or a bucket of water, that risk drops significantly. Unfortunately, other than their natural beauty, new explorers aren't going to find much here. Snowy plains is pretty much what you'd expect. Like the plains, villages can generate here, and as the name suggests, these are vast open areas covered in snow. And ironically similar to deserts, food from animals is scarce unless you are near a village. One rather unique biome variant is the ice spikes, which adds tree-like spears of ice to the snowy plains. This is definitely worth a visit, even if you don't want to build here. Igloos are unique to the snowy plains, snowy taiga, and snowy slopes, and are not only quite safe to visit, they can easily act as a shelter in a pinch. And about half of them generate with a hidden bonus, so keep your eyes open for that. Polar bears and strays are unique mobs to snowy biomes, with some differences between Java and Bedrock for specific spawn areas. Back to the warmer side of things, Savanna is another open plains-like biome, but with a drier hue and acacia trees. Rain does not fall in savannas, deserts, or badlands. Savannas are an excellent biome for a new player due to their abundance of animals and easy access to wood, as well as being the final biome to generate villages. If you are either super adventurous or a creative genius, then you'll probably agree with me when I suggest that the Windswept Savanna is the most interesting overworld biome in Minecraft. Unlike other Windswept variants, which basically just result in sharper, taller hills, the Windswept Savanna features extreme elevation changes with an interesting patchwork of regular savanna surface, coarse dirt, and exposed stone. There are certainly enough resources here to survive on, but navigating the terrain is treacherous, and shadows cast from high overhangs and floating islands mean more daytime havens for monsters to spawn in. But if you're up for the challenge, this biome has immense potential for cliffside builders. Perhaps you'll decide to come back here once you've established yourself somewhere else. Jungles are not only lush and green, but a bountiful source of wood once you have the means to collect it. Additionally, not only do farm-type animals spawn in jungle variants, but so do 3 other animals unique to the area. I'll let you guess at which ones, or discover them yourself. Unfortunately, like the dark forest, the jungle's thick canopy allows for monsters to shelter from the sun during the daytime, or to wander out from caves without you seeing them. Building a treetop city might be the way to go here. Jungle temples can generate here, and like the desert pyramid, have both traps and loot inside. Unlike the desert pyramid, the jungle temple's traps are less deadly, but the inside is much darker, so be prepared to find enemies inside. Bamboo jungles are a variant biome where the jungle trees have been replaced with swaths of bamboo. Bamboo can be crafted into blocks and then further refined into planks, making it one of the easiest ways to get wood quickly. And without the vast canopy overhead, sunlight streams in, making it a much safer variety. Sparse jungle is also just as its name implies. Rather than large jungle trees, smaller trees generate, and less densely than a birch forest or a taiga. Multiple types of animals are found here, making it similar to the plains and savanna for ideal starting conditions. Additionally, the vibrancy of jungle green, combined with its gentler terrain and well-rounded resources, make it perhaps one of the most attractive biomes to build in early on. Lastly, we'll talk about the ocean biomes. Oceans come in 5 temperature variations, and 4 of those have deep versions. The frozen ocean boasts iceberg-like formations and sheets of ice claimed by polar bears. The cold ocean has a dark blue hue and, well, lots of water. The original ocean variant is similar to Cold Ocean, but with a different water color, and the chance to spawn dolphins, both here and in the warmer variants. Lukewarm Ocean has a noticeably lighter hue, and spawns now include pufferfish and tropical fish. Warm oceans house coral reefs and may be lit up underwater by sea pickles. Warm oceans do not have a deep variant. If you're keen on building an underwater base, a floating platform, or a house in the sky, oceans are the place for you, as long as you're determined enough to do it. Just keep in mind that a zombie variant called the Drowned may spawn in oceans, but definitely will show up in ocean ruins, which can generate in all ocean variants. All deep ocean types may have ocean monuments, which are safe enough to skim past on a boat, but a death trap to enter as an inexperienced player. If you do plan on traveling near one, keep some distance, or at least be prepared for a jump scare and a frustrating status effect. No spoilers, consider yourself warned. On the plus side, shipwrecks may also generate in any ocean type, and depending on which parts of the ship are intact, up to 3 loot chests may be available. If you can clear out the drowned and have a means to stay underwater long enough, ocean ruins are also part of the archaeology mechanic. And if you like turtles, they'll be found swimming around in oceans that are near a sandy beach. The one final biome worth mentioning is the rare Mushroom Fields, which used to be called Mushroom Island, because they are meant to generate surrounded by oceans. The exclusive Mooshroom lives here, along with giant mushrooms on a bed of mycelium. Starting here would be incredibly difficult, as there's no wood to collect, and therefore no tools for mining and eventually cooking food, and no grass or crops to plant. So you'd need to survive on raw beef while the mushroom population slowly dwindles down. That said, if you were to bring some resources to the island, this is a decent area to settle down in, because no hostile mobs will spawn here due to darkness on the surface or underneath it, making it very, very safe. There are still some other enemies that can find ways to harass you on a mushroom island due to their own unique spawn conditions. Well, I think that should about do it for today's showcase. Stay tuned, we'll definitely be looking at mining pretty soon, as well as probably looking at some mob spawning, and I think we'll talk about water and lava coming up pretty soon as well. Until then, I hope you learned something today, and I will see you next time. Thanks for watching.